So good morning and welcome to a wet, miserable Sunday morning. So I am now making a video about some of the questions that I've had from everybody. I've had questions over the last year or so as comments on the videos, and I thought I'd answer some of those questions now. I also put a video out yesterday asking for questions, and yeah, we've had a few questions, so I'll answer those as well. Probably the first question that I get asked a lot is, what rallies am I attending this year? I'm going to put a list in the bit below here of the rallies that we're planning on attending. I think at the moment the next rally that we're doing is next weekend. We're going down to Abbey Hill at Yeovil yeah, we're going to try that out. Say hi to my sister. Hi, Kate. She lives in Yeovil, so it's good for seeing her. But also I want to put a special shout out to the Bloxham rally. There'll be a link again below with regard to the Bloxham rally. It's my personal favourite rally, and the reason that it's my favourite is because it's my local rally, and I think everybody should be supporting their local rally. So yeah, it really is a great rally. It's in the true tradition of rallies, and that it is run by a group of volunteers. It's run solely as on a not-for-profit basis to give everybody a really good day out, and for exhibitors to go and show the things that they love. I think it's an absolutely fantastic rally, which is why I've got involved in organising it. So there's my declared interest. I'm involved, but as with everybody else in here, I don't get any payment for it or anything like that, because that isn't really the spirit of the rally. So that's with regard to rallies. Now I want to start talking a little bit about coal. I've had questions about coal, and so here's an introduction to coal. Saffron is a mine on the outskirts of Merthyr Tydfil in South Wales. It's an absolutely enormous mine. From this one site alone, 11.5 million tonnes of coal have been extracted. The mine opened in 2008 and production ceased in November of 2023. If, like me, your hobby is steam, coal is something you really have to worry about. So, when the Welsh mine closed, it meant that coal was then in short supply, and it remains so. National Traction Engine Trust have been working very hard with CPL, and you'll see here I've that's a part of my coal store. Now I've got, that's the Wildfire, that's the it's the pre-made sort of nuggets that you get. I've got some bits of anthracite there. I also have under here, all wrapped up, that's another ton of Welsh. That's my sort of coal reserve, and I've actually got another half a ton round the other side of the house. I've seen coal now. I mean, you can still buy some Welsh there, but the stocks are very much dwindling. Last time I saw some, it was about £700 a ton. This I bought, and I paid about £500 a ton for it, coming on for 2 years ago, but that was after it had already gone up considerably. Yeah, there's the trailer for the Ferguson, but we don't talk about that. So yes, coal continues to be a problem, and I think, I mean, the Wildfire, well, Wildfire for me is fine if we're pottering about in a rally field. It's absolutely perfectly good enough. It takes a different, you have to kind of learn how to fire with it. and that's okay. You know, I think it's a small compromise to make, to know that you can continue running the engine. Look, you know, I mean, it isn't going to get any easier, I don't think. So we've got to learn how to compromise and how we can recognise and address the questions that are being asked around burning coal as a hobby. There's polluting for pleasure has become a rather unpleasant term that's been associated with it, and I think certainly for me a lot of it is about retaining the engineering, retaining the industrial heritage of us as a country, and the fantastic things that we've built and the fantastic things that we still run. It would be a tragic shame to see that stop, and I think we will all have to learn how to deal with it in different ways. I know that there's a very, very strong movement that suggests, look, you know, compared to global shipping, compared to, I mean, there's an estimation that the amount of coal that's burnt within the UK steam rally scene over the course of the year is about the same as one day's traffic across between the UK and the USA. How true that is, I've no idea. But it's certainly quite minor. And obviously, you know, I would think that it's an important part of our cultural heritage, because it's something that I'm involved in. But I think we have to recognise that there is an issue there, and I think that we have to be prepared to address that issue. Oh, well, that was annoying. It stopped. Yeah. So what I was saying was, we have to find ways in which we can address the issue and say, yes, we recognise that there is a need to change. And that we're prepared to change. I think change will always take time, and at the moment I think it's still early. Sorry, I'm just fascinated by we've got a little bird visitor there who's been hopping around inquisitively. We have to be prepared to change. We have to be prepared to do things slightly differently. But I think that I'm still very positive that there will be a way forward for quite a lot of time to come. So I've had one of the questions I've been asked recently is, how do I pack the trailer? How does Tilly travel, and how do I take the trailer along with Tilly as well? So I thought I'll give you a view of how Tilly travels. So at the moment, this is a fairly standard travelling setup for Tilly. So she's obviously over on the right hand side of the trailer here. It's probably going to be helpful actually just to see the trailer as a whole. So this is it's an I4 Williams BV10G, I think, something like that. Let's have a look. There's a plate on the side that will tell us. There we go. And it's BV105G on I4 Williams trailers. The 105 always indicates, and that's 10 foot by 5 foot. So Tilly's here on the right hand side. Up against the side there we've got the chimney extension just for raising steam, and back there we've got a dustpan and brush. We've got a bit of rope just in case. Hanging up there I've got the pegs for the awning. The awning's the tall thing just there, and the green hose there is just for filling Tilly up at hoses when we need to. Down the bottom there we've got some kindling. We've got the white bucket there is I use that with some paraffin just to get the kindling going when we're lighting her up. And then here is the collapsed trailer. So there are sides in here, the drawbar is there, and then the sides are also then all elasticated onto the sides so that everything's there. When we're travelling, normally I'd have some extra coal in here. The coal sits in here, so it's over the wheel, so the weight's more evenly balanced. And that's about it really. What I do with the trailer itself is that you'll see at the front. So here we've got a winch set up for winching Tilly in and out of the trailer. That's running on a battery just here. Now we've got a battery solar charge controller, and you can just see the outline up there of a solar panel. What that actually does is it just keeps the battery topped up. I mean, we don't use a huge amount of power because we're only using the winch occasionally, and that means that that battery is good enough to be able to do all of the winching and be topped up with the solar, and that's kept it so far. And you'll see some very smart looking tyres at the back there. They're the new vulcanized rubber that I have put on over the winter. So that gives you an idea of trailer setup. So yeah, thanks for the question. So another question that's just come up is with regard to driving the engine and what license you need. Well, technically you need a car driving license to take the engine out onto the public highway. That said, when you're on a rally field, quite often in the terms and conditions of rallies it will say anybody in charge of an engine needs to have the appropriate license and so on. However, in my experience, plenty of young people are driving rallies around rally sites, and it's a great way for people to get involved. So yeah, I mean, generally they're under some sort of supervision, but you know, I see a lot of young people very, very competently handling engines, and you know, I would have no question that would be okay. But to go on the public highway, you need a driving license. You also need insurance. Technically, the traction engine also needs to be taxed, although the tax is free. So you take a form into the post office, they tap away on the computer for a few strokes, and then say, yep, it's all done, and it doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to present any other information. So a bit pointless really, but technically that's what you need. So how do you get involved with Steam on a budget? Well, I would say clearly there's a fairly steep entry point in buying an engine yourself. However, there are clubs that get involved, so try getting in touch with do a Google search, find your local model engineering club. They are something that in my experience are dying on their feet. They really need new young blood in having an interest in model engineering. So certainly from a miniatures perspective, get involved in your local club. That's probably the most accessible way of getting involved in Steam. But also it's worth going to rallies and talking to people. I've had, if you've watched the videos before, I've had Dan, a young lad who really wanted to get involved in Steam, and he's come along with me a couple of times and helped out with the engine, and it's great to have young people involved. And I know there was a final question from Chris, who said, could he have last night's winning lottery numbers? Well, if I'd have known those, my friend, might not have been sharing them. Anyway, thanks for all your questions, and hope you enjoyed the video.